Hey, guess what is 1 week from today?
Opening day.
Yep, that is right, Jesse Cofield. We get to a tradition unlike any other, tweet out pictures of us playing Little League Baseball, and I look forward to that. And as I look forward to this season, I ask myself, and I ask the people at home, who were the top hitters in Major League Baseball last year? Well, here are the leaders on your screen. Trey Turner, oh man, for a guy who struggles with health, 195. Then you got a pair of Toronto Blue Jays there coming in second and third. Freddie Freeman now calling LA home. Don't worry, Whit Merrifield. We see you there as well with a $184.
Vlad Guerrero, that's Steve's favorite player.
It is Steve's favorite player, and I'm so glad Steve is here because I know we're some of his favorite people to talk to. Nobody puts a smile on the face of Steve Buchanan like Jesse Cofield and Emerson Lance unless you're Robert Flores. Yeah. Erik Halterman of Rotowire also here. Guys, we're here to talk some hit props. So who are the favorites to lead the majors in hits in 2022?
All right, let's first look at the prop for who will be the overall leader in hits in 2022. Okay. So right now we have Tim Anderson, the favorite, at plus 1,000. Now, Anderson hasn't played in 150 games since 2018, so we know he has ability, but maybe not the most likely to get the totals here, right? Also at the top, 5 guys we just saw from last year: Bichette, Guerrero at plus 1,100, Turner plus 1,200, Merrifield, Freeman plus 1,500. So here's my question, Steve: is it going to be someone at the top, or are you going to be looking at someone with like longer odds here?
Yeah, look, obviously, when you have someone like Tim Anderson at the top there, like, rightfully so. I mean, for the games that he played, he was averaging over a hit per game. Like, this guy is an absolute machine. The problem is keeping him on the field. That's the biggest thing for me. I like those odds for Trey Turner at 12-1. I think those are really solid odds. He led the league last year, like you guys so eloquently just showed a few minutes ago, but he did that playing 148 games. If you look at the guys that had the top 5 or in the top 5 for hits last year, games played 159, 161, 162, and 159. So Turner led the league by 4 hits, playing less games than all of those guys. Being in that Dodger lineup, there is just no outs to be had. They really can't pitch around any of these guys. And regardless of where Turner is going to be hitting, whether it's second or whether it's third, it's going to be very well protected. Pitchers are going to have no choice but to throw the ball and try to generate an out from him. So with that type of mentality and the way that Trey Turner can get the ball out to the field, I like Trey Turner at 12-1.
All right, Erik, who do you like?
Yeah, I like another guy at plus 1,200. Wander Franco is very interesting, one that top tier. He's tied for 4th in the odds, both of my favorite projection systems, ATC by Ariel Cohen and the Bad X by Derek Carty. They have him 7th in projected hits, but projections often aren't super all in on the very young guys just because they don't have as much data to work with, and projections work off of the data. So for a guy as young as Franco to be, again, 7th by each of those, that says a lot about him. He's got what you want for a guy who could lead the league in hits, and that he makes an absurd amount of contact, 12.0% strikeout rate as a rookie last year. And that could even go down this year. He's at 7.9% in the minors. So he's who I like among that top tier. Maybe Nick Castellanos, a little bit lower down at plus 2,000, going to a very hitter-friendly park with a very strong lineup in Philadelphia. Cut his strikeout rate down to 20.7%, which isn't Wander Franco territory, but it's enough better than average that I think it puts him in the mix. He hit 309 last year. So he's the guy like a little bit lower down, but I think Franco is the interesting one in that top tier.
Well, these player totals obviously depend on health for sure, and we might see guys take a couple extra days off with a somewhat condensed schedule, but you got Trey Turner's total, 176.5. That's 19 hits below last year. And then Freeman is at 166.5. This is by far the most dangerous lineup in baseball right now. Are these easy overs in the Dodgers lineup, though, Steve?
Look, I am in no interest in taking an under in anything that has to do with a Dodgers hitter that is going to be consistently in that lineup. Like I alluded to earlier, if I like Trey Turner to lead the league in hits, I'm certainly not taking the under on his total. That would just be madness. Why would I do that to myself? I won't. So I'll spare it for you. I'm not going to do that to myself. Taking the over. Freddie Freeman. You know, we thought he was well protected in the Braves lineup. How about this Dodgers lineup that he's going to be in? Now, granted, he's in a much tougher division when it comes to ballparks, but we're not talking about home runs here. We just need him to get the ball in play. So I like the over on both of these here. Both of these guys should be right in that realm when the season comes to a close. And quite frankly, they should be going over those totals as well. But like this lineup is going to be a nightmare for opposing pitchers. There's just, like I said earlier, no outs to be had in this lineup. So absolutely taking the over on both of these guys.
I mean, Erik, for Turner, like no one's had more than his 273 hits over really the last couple seasons.
Yeah, and the projections see it that way too. Both ATC and the BatX have him as the hits leader, comfortably over. They also have Freddie Freeman comfortably over here. The only point against these two is the Dodgers have so much depth that they can afford to rotate guys heavily. There are only 3 Dodgers played in more than 130 games last season. Justin Turner led the team in plate appearances with 612, but he was 54th overall in the league. So they will get their rest, but that lineup is so good that I think it's not going to matter, because the other thing you need for getting a huge total of hits is a lot of plate appearances, which they will get on a per game basis, even if they're sitting often. The Dodgers last season as a team finished second in plate appearances, and that was without a DH. So now they have a DH. I think they're going to comfortably send their guys to the plate more than anybody else. So even with maybe 3 or 4 more days off than these guys would have on other teams, they're still going to end up with very high totals of plate appearances and therefore very high totals of hits.
All right, Steve, let's talk about the Blue Jays dynamic duo. Bichette's hits prop is 178.5, Guerrero 176.5, but there's no way, right, that like pitchers give Guerrero enough pitches to get 177 hits this year, right?
I don't know.
Like, we don't usually see guys with his type of power near the top of the league leaders in hits. So how do you look at these totals, Steve?
This is such a weird question. Like,
Yeah,
I read this
I
from
didn't write
producer
it.
Drew. I read it from producer Drew, and I was
Yep.
like, what is he talking about?
Yeah,
He just did it last year. He exceeded the 177 by 11 hits last year. 3rd in the league in hits. And then if you look at the top 20 in hits, let's really expand this baby, okay? Top 20 in hits. 8 of the 20 guys had 30 or more home runs. So listen, Drew, do some research when you're
Ooh.
doing these shows. Look up the stats
Ooh.
and then eloquently write your questions. Because you know what? This question stinks. Because
Ooh.
obviously it can happen. We just saw it happen last year. So you know what? I'm not even really going to answer this one. I wanted to publicly take this time to out Drew and say, do your questions better because this question stinks.
Wow. I mean,
Erik, do you agree?
Yeah, don't answer. Don't answer. Just yell at Drew.
I'll yell at Steve. I'll actually take Drew's side here. I think the hit totals for these guys are inflated. Well, you're the one who's actually with the company. I'm Rotowire, so I'm not even a company.
oh my God!
Burn!
Hey, that was good. Hey, that was good. I got nothing on that. That was good.
Well, anyway, so these guys, I think their totals are a bit inflated because they spent so much time playing in small minor league parks last year. They're both going to be near the hits leaders, but the projections actually have these guys both as slight unders, and I would agree with that. Vlad in particular, he walks a bunch now. He didn't before. His walk rate was around league average his first couple years in the league. He was up to 12.3% last year, partially due to becoming more selective, partially due to hitters becoming more scared of him. And that extra 4% walk rate means there's about 25 times a year where he doesn't even get a chance to hit. That takes away just enough, I think, that I would side the under here, although the place in the batting order is going to matter for both of them. They can both, I think, either hit second or fourth. Bichette was batting cleanup late last year. He was back to second in spring, although there's just a lineup today where I believe he's hitting cleanup, and one of the Blue Jays reporters said that this is the supposed opening day lineup. It's got Vlad second and Bichette fourth. Whichever of them hits earlier in the lineup, if they're going to stay there all year, I'm closer to going over there, but I would slightly side under on both.